Today's podcast is brought to you by Kentucky Farm Bureau Insurance. If your property gets damaged by a storm, it's nice to know there's a Kentucky Farm Bureau insurance agent in your hometown who's committed to making things right. Rain or shine, you can count on the great coverage and personal service you expect from Kentucky's insurance company. To request a free quote, find your local KFB insurance agent at mykfbagent.com. Kentucky Farm Bureau, big on commitment. Okay, so normally it's my favorite day because Tim's here, but we have something special to announce this month.
We're celebrating always Tim.
Oh,
but
I mean, always.
We're celebrating
I was holding my breath there for a minute.
the hidden gem of our team, Austin Anderson. His birthday's coming up.
Woo!
Happy birthday to you.
He's going to be 25. I don't know, 35? Just nod. 35.
Great podcast content. He is a great podcaster.
He's a great podcast. 36. He just said that in the earphones and no one can hear. So, Austin's turning 36. It's his birthday, his sweet 36th birthday. Can you say that?
We thought about just letting Tim sing happy birthday to you and ad-libbing anything in the middle, but instead, because we do love Austin, although it sounds like we are just putting him on the spot all the time when we find a way, instead, we're going to talk about birthday traditions.
You know, just so he knows, you're halfway to 72.
And I said we were nice to Austin.
Halfway there, buddy.
I'm just saying.
That's
you
great.
know, and if the average life expectancy for a man in this country is 78, it's almost half over,
You're
pal.
almost halfway over. Isn't that wild? Yeah.
That was a merry thought.
Happy birthday!
Wait, I'm 10 years older than Austin. Thanks, Tim. Thanks for that. I'm even closer.
Just kidding. That means enjoy every day.
And cherish every moment.
Come on.
Yeah.
YOLO.
Yeah.
So birthday traditions, right? Things you did.
You ready? Mine's tough to beat. I'm just warning you.
Yeah.
While we're on this sad
You brought
note,
this up
I
because you
did
have a
bring
really
this up.
good. You do this a lot. You have these like topics that you can win. That's
And to be honest, this is like a sad win. Like, it's like no one can have it worse. My birthday is January 2nd.
okay.
Super cool. Whatever. Yay. Winter birthday, when you're a kid, you're like, but I want to bring cupcakes on my birthday. We were never in school on my birthday.
Yeah.
Ever. As an adult, that's awesome. Who wants to go to work on their birthday? As a child, though, you're like, I want to bring cupcakes. Like, so
Yeah.
that was a bummer. Other thing, we used to go to Louisiana to see my extended family between Christmas and New Year's. We regularly were driving back on the 2nd of January. So my birthday was my dad going, oh, hey, looks like ice cream over there. Let's get you some Baskin Robbins. Let's get you a Blizzard. That was my birthday celebration. It was like, hey, you can get whatever you want. And I was like, yay.
Yeah, I hear kids that adults too, that were born anywhere around Christmas.
It's a bummer.
It's kind of you get a twofer. You get a twofer kind of gift. You get like the two events for one.
Oh, yeah.
kind of
I
thing.
thought
Is
you
that
meant it
true?
was
Do
double
you-
gifts. And I was like, no, a lot of people are like, you want to do something? We were just all together.
Just saw you. Yeah.
Like, can we just do it today? And I'm like, oh, gosh. Which my dad's Christmas Eve, so I think that's another reason why, is because we all told him, like, you can't let Jesus have a day. Like, I got to bump in on his birthday.
Yeah.
So we made fun of him forever. His siblings did that to him forever. So I think my January 2nd one, he just saw an opportunity to big brother me.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what's funny? Only letting you have ice cream for your birthday
That's
because
all you get, and you get to sit in the back seat.
and you get to take turns on the Game Boy with your siblings on the 10-hour drive home from Louisiana.
Ice cream in the winter, too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
so not even and no pool party, no. I was just this normally gloomy, half the time raining, tough birthday.
My daughter is a July birthday, and my son's in April. Okay.
That's good birthdays.
Well, it's good, but this is what happens. The first time we had a pool party for my daughter, my son was like, I want to have a pool party. I was like, well, your birthday's in April. It's not quite. He said, but we're like, maybe like we can have a belated one.
Uh-huh.
That's been like 4 or 5 years of never doing that.
Belated
we have
birthday
never
parties are
done that. That poor
false.
kid. He has never had a belated pool party.
That will scar him for
He
life.
will be scarred for life. But yeah, she's like the vacation kid. Like sometimes we're on vacation during her birthday, which is just amazing.
That's awesome.
Right. She has like all that, and he's just April. And just poor April birthday too. So yeah, his birthday he's 17. So he's a big talent right here.
So Tim, you just have a pool party for every one of your birthday parties?
No, I've gotten to the age where think I have to celebrate a birthday at least 3 times a year. Just so I can get to the next one. I have a May birthday.
May, okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, it's celebrating a birthday as an older person is a celebration that you're still rocking and
Yes.
rolling, right?
You're just happy to be upright, moving along,
So what do you do for your birthday every year?
Well, usually we're, at a horse show, or we're working horses, or we're something with those darn horses. I'm telling you.
Yeah,
Spending all my money.
Spending all my money
I'm
on those
officially
horses.
the age that the only reason we'll have a party is it's like one of those old, like your 50th, or your 65th, your 75th, like these years, because no one cares that I'm going to be 46 this year. That's just one of those, like, yeah, that's cool. Happy
But
birthday.
your
have fun.
family will care, man.
Oh, yeah. Usually, on my September birthday, so usually we're at some form of a sporting event for the kids, and we don't have anything. So it's just, we're not.
I will say this. My parents always call me first thing in the morning, tell me my birthday, and my in-laws always want to go out to dinner. It's like their thing. They're like, we're going to take you to dinner for your birthday, and I get to pick where we go, which is...
Yeah.
Do you still
kind.
get ice cream when you're just on the ride home?
Oh my gosh, I should start telling them. I don't think you understand. This is a requirement. I'm gonna need ice
I
cream.
just saw Baskin Robbins and we just drove
and
right
we
by
didn't
it.
stop. Where's my Game Boy?
I do get cake.
Heyo.
Can I tell you a quick funny cake story?
You bet.
Absolutely.
We love cake.
My brother, his birthday is on May the 2nd. My birthday is on May the 13th. So when we were little, my mother would make this humongous cake and, watch us, destroy it. So I remember, and my dad always had the movie camera, the 8mm movie camera out. So one year, I don't know whatever happened to the movie, but it's my brother's birthday, my older brother, if you're listening.
Old.
So he is slicing these big pieces of cake, one for my sister, one for himself, and he gives me a crumb.
Hateful.
And I just look at him.
Sounds like an older brother. That sounds
And
exactly right.
I'm waiting, and he cuts another piece for somebody, and then I get another crumb. And then the next scene in the movie is I'm gone.
Oh, you just left?
I just got up and left, I guess. I don't remember it.
Did you cry?
I don't remember that either.
You probably cried.
Must have been some cruddy
Sounds-
crumbs.
Yes.
Sounds devastating.
Yes, it scarred me for life.
He tried to make the pittier story than my 10-hour drive story. He tried to story top me.
He did.
Anybody that knows me and has seen me knows I have not done without cake since then.
You've had plenty of cake. You've had plenty of cake. Well, happy birthday, Austin.
Happy birthday, Austin!
Are you awake in there? Hello. Happy birthday. So, speaking of great people, we have a great...
You just segued into that.
Right, we have a
man.
great guest today.
But who is it? Who's our guest today?
Well, I don't know if it's his birthday or not. I didn't ask him, but we're going to talk to Pulaski County farmer Chris Pierce.
Okay. Chris is awesome. Yeah.
I've known Chris for many years, and he is a farmer extraordinaire. He's a teacher, and just a great family guy, the epitome of farm family. And we are talking today about cover crops. The first time this was years ago, even before I came to Farm Bureau, I read a story about Chris and cover crops. I said, I don't know who this dude is, but I got to call him and find out about this. And he's utilized those for many years. It helps with conservation on the farm. Certainly helps with his soil fertility and keeping moisture in the soil and all that good stuff. And he just, it's a practice that he has kept all these years. And of course now, being in the situation that a lot of farmers are with fertilizer and things like that, the less you use, the better off as far as input costs and things like that. So Chris and I had a a great conversation about all that and all that he does. And
yeah, I mean, he's he's a go-to in talking about this stuff. I know that was a big part of him. His family won the Achievement Award at the national level, Outstanding Young Farm Family. I think a lot of what he was doing on the farm made that kind of stick out at that time. And then we've actually interviewed him for some different things about these same topics.
And he's so smart. And I have to just, sort of go along. He's talking all this scientific things, and I'm going, sure, yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah.
I've made it a long way smiling and nodding.
Yeah, it works. It works a lot. Yeah. But he's a great interview. So
always,
good pick.
Always gracious to me.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've amped him up enough. Without further ado, I'm Renee Carrico.
I'm Matt Hilton.
I'm Tim Thornberry.
Let's get rural.
Well, Chris, first off, thanks as always. You're always a big help for stories that we're doing. And I remember many years ago, the first time I had heard a whole lot about cover crops, your name was attached to the information, and I think we talked then. And you've been educating me since then.
Always glad to be a help if I can.
Absolutely. Chris, if you don't mind, as we get started here, I just want if you would share with our listeners and our readers a little bit about whatever you want to share about you and your operation there in Pulaski County.
Okay. My name's Chris Pierce. We farm in Pulaski County and some in surrounding counties. I started with my first crop that I had a stake in 1995, and that was while I was in high school in FFA. So we've got about 30 years crops under our belt. I've worked as a Kentucky adult ag instructor through KCTCS for 22 years. Really enjoyed that. Our family, me and my wife, we have 4 children. 2 of them are in college right now, our 2 sons, and our 2 daughters. One of them's in high school, one of them's in middle school. One thing we're really proud of, Tim, is the boys are back-to-back state star farmers for FFA for the state of Kentucky for 24 and 25. So,
wow.
Very active in our farming operation, and they're a big part of our story. They operate here as partners with me and my wife. So,
well, that's a big help, isn't it, Chris? I know that that next generation is so very important, and it sounds like you've got your children well on their way.
Well, we're blessed. We're blessed. We've got good kids, and they know what work is, Tim.
Well, that's a good thing, because unfortunately, a lot of them don't. So you're in pretty good shape there, I'd say.
Well, they've had livestock. My sons have had cattle and sheep, so they've had some experience beyond crops, and they're transferring to UK, so they're both going to be starting at UK this fall, majoring in agricultural economics. So.
Well, that's great, because right now we need good agriculture economists out there. It has not been the greatest of times, and to be on the farm and try to make those numbers get to where we want them to be, is it?
Well, every generation's had its challenges, Tim, and we're bearing ours right now. I hear about the guys that farmed through the 80s, and even going back to listening to some of my granddads. Both of them were mule skinners. They didn't drive a tractor till they were in their 30s. So they drove mules for probably 15 years or more.
Now that's work.
Oh yeah. So everybody's had their challenges, but yeah, right now we're experiencing a lot of volatility, Tim.
Well, Chris, I know I sent you some questions earlier, but I can't see them now. so if I forget where I'm going here, you pull me back on track, okay?
That's all right.
I think, Chris, first off, I know, tell me a little bit, if you don't mind, you grow corn, soybeans, wheat on the farm, is that right?
Yeah, we grow corn, soybeans, wheat, and we also grow high uric acid rapeseed, which is a type of canola.
Yeah.
The products we grow on the farm are all food grade with the exception of our corn. Our corn, right now, most of our corn's been going to Nestle Purina and to pet food, so we still have a value-added product in each of the commodities we grow.
Is the rapeseed something new for you, Chris, or you've been doing that a while?
So we grew canola in the, I call them in the teen years, from about 2013 to 15 for Ag Strong, and then Purdue bought the processing plant down in Trenton, Kentucky, and started processing a different type of canola, which is high uric acid rapeseed, and the end product there, a lot of it goes to peanut butter and food support products.
Mm-hmm. You know, I remember when that happened, Chris, because I interviewed a guy from Purdue for that, and he was pretty excited. He was pretty excited about Kentucky producers, so it seems like that particular crop is catching on more and more. Is that a pretty fair assessment?
It is. So you've got two wheelhouses. You've got Bundy and Cortee, their partnership, which is more structured toward airline fuel. And then you have this food grade product through Purdue. And both of them are great opportunities, I think, for Kentucky farmers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. With that said, Chris, I don't have to tell you what input prices look like right now, it's just they seem to continue to climb daily almost. It seems like you and I talked years ago about the use of cover crops, and how it could help reduce some of those fertilizer costs, how it could be nutritious for the soil, if you will. Talk to me a little bit how you got started with that.
So for us, the first year we got started in growing more diversified, we grew wheat on the farm. You know, I had wheat in 1995, my first year, but getting into a more diversified winter crop system, we started that after the fall of 2012, and the main driving interest in it was moisture retention, because everybody remembers the drought of 2012.
Absolutely.
We planted the first year, I think we planted over 300 acres of multi-species cover crop, wheat, rye, vetch, crimson clover, and radish. And through what I call the lean teen period, Tim, and farmers will recognize this, from 2013 to 2020, we went through a pretty low time where we were very range bound on our commodity prices. Mm-hmm. And through that period, we grew our farming operation by more than 40%.
Wow.
Just by we were growing a lot of those multi-species cover crops. We were lowering our fertilizer and herbicide costs. We started picking up through our soil testing how stable fertility levels were, because we were cycling nutrients better by keeping living roots in the soil year-round. And the high residue from those cover crops we went from spraying soybeans, planning on 3 applications of herbicide a year to we got down to 1.7. You know,
Wow.
farm, we only had a single application of herbicide on after we would typically plant, roller crimp, and come back in a couple weeks later with one herbicide application. And, you know, we really lowered our cost structure, and it helped us to thrive through a very lean period, what I was calling the lean teens period.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we grew our farming operation. So,
Did any of that surprise you, Chris, when you first started with that you would lower some of your costs as much as you did?
so like I say, my original ambition in growing cover crops was moisture retention because we just came through that drought.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to stabilize my farm to be able to hold more moisture in the soil. The herbicide, weed control benefit, and the fertility, the stability of my soil fertility were a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
That was not one of my original goals, but it was an additional benefit that we sure appreciated from, and were able to build and franchise across our farm operation.
Mm-hmm. What about the moisture retention? I know that some of your land there is probably not in a spot where you can irrigate. Was that all that you wanted it to be or expected it to be?
So one of the things that we've seen, you know, we do a lot of crop scouting, and through my work with the Kentucky Young Farmer Association, making farm visits across the state, one thing I've seen was the difference in our crop health and stress levels. And when you go in, you know, when it's late July, early August, it's hot and it's dry, and crops aren't twisted, they're not under stress, and you go down and you pull that mat back and you can feel moist soil all the way to the top. It turned a light bulb on for me. There was a pilot that was done in our county the summer of 2012 before I started seeding cover crops. Pulaski County Soil Conservation done that, and I remember being out there in July, just making a farm visit and checking on the progress of the project, and seeing how moist that soil was relative to what I had at home. And seeing that benefit in a live environment, that was, you've always heard a picture's worth 1,000 words, you know.
Absolutely.
It was a live example, and that investment by my soil conservation district has really benefited my operation and other operations in our area that got to see that live demonstration.
Mm-hmm. Chris, have you seen the use of cover crops? I know when you and I talked about it, if memory serves me correctly, I think my headline was raising a crop that you'll never sell. But obviously, you reap the benefit on the other end of that. Have you seen the use of cover crops, you know, from yourself and from other farmers grow over those years? Are a lot more people doing it?
Well, I think it's cyclical. I think when times are tough, people are looking for more alternatives and options. And I think that's when more adoption happens. When things get really good, when prices are high, a lot of times people forget about maybe some of those cost-saving measures, and their return on investment's a lot higher on commercial inputs when things are good. So I think it's somewhat cyclical, but one of the things when you originally talked to some about canola at the beginning of this discussion, having some cash cover crops that can also diversify your operation are a great opportunity. And in Kentucky, like I say, the opportunity to have processors and buyers for another winter cash crop, this rapeseed with Purdue, canola with Corteva and Bungie. Those are opportunities. Cereal rye is an opportunity. And there's other winter crops that are opportunities, but those are ways that we can have a live root in the soil and also have a cash crop. They're cash cover crops, Tim. So
Absolutely, yeah. What about wheat, Chris? Do you ever consider that to be somewhat of a cover crop? I know we plant it in the winter, and we usually plant it.
Cover crop, and it's good for the soils in Kentucky. If you look at UK, their long-term research, having wheat in the rotation is a benefit to your corn crop compared to just a straight corn bean rotation. Having a corn wheat bean rotation, statistically, it always brings more yield on corn, and I think it's a great opportunity for farmers. It's a great diversity, and we're lucky we have Seymour Milling in the state of Kentucky, an end user that's adding value to our crop.
Well, I know, Chris, thinking back to when you started as now, do you progressively grow the amount of cover crops, or are you at a point where you're in good shape, or how do you judge that? How do you figure that out?
Well, I'm pretty rotationally fluid. You know what I mean? So I don't. I'm not stuck on one certain rotation, Tim. I think we have to. The guy told me two things you don't want to go against is the government and the times. So being fluid with things, I think if you're not fenced into a certain rotation, you've got access to more opportunities. So through that lean teen period, 100% soybeans with high biomass cover crops. It allowed me to take my working capital and expand the farm because I had lower operating budgets. And it was an opportunity to expand because most farmers were struggling and having lower profitability in my area. They were older guys, they were getting out, and it was a good opportunity. So we moved from prior to 2012, we were probably 60% corn and 40% wheat, and we were growing a percentage of corn on corn and wheat on all of our soybean acres. And then we moved to high biomass cover crops, a lower operating budget, and took our working capital and spread it across more acres. So we grew the farming operation 40% through that period. Then when we came into 21, 22, and 23, which are record high profitability years in Kentucky for grain farmers, we switched back to more intense farming. We started growing more corn again, and we come up with the rotation that we're using currently, a 3-year 5-crop rotation. So, Tim, we're growing corn the first year, planting rapeseed in the fall, follow that by double crop soybeans. Then we come back in with wheat on those acres, followed by double crop soybeans. And we're breaking up pathogen cycles this way. Our rotation, commonly in Kentucky, farmers grow corn, plant wheat on that in the fall, and then double crop beans and back to corn. But you do have some antagonism there in the rotation between the corn and the wheat. You've got some diseases that can move from your corn residue to your wheat. The 3-year 5-crop rotation we're doing, Tim, we're breaking up pathogen cycles by following with different biotypes every time and creating some synergy from that, which lowers our need for commercial inputs.
And right now, I've talked to a couple of soybean producers not long ago. I said, if there's one thing that I would ask you about input costs, that if it were better, it would be the most helpful. And they both said fertilizer cost. We've seen that go up, and now we're really seeing a predicament with it. So that really puts a lot of stress on a lot of farmers, especially as we enter planting season.
Well, I tell you what, Tim, fertilizer was relatively high compared to our commodity prices 2 weeks ago. But after the initiation of what's going on in Iran, we've seen a big spike. And a lot of guys that were not prepaid or hedged on their fertilizer prices I spoke to producers last week that said their nitrogen cost on corn, essentially in 2 days jumped up $45+ an acre.
Wow.
And, that comes right off the bottom line. When you weren't in a real sunny position to start with, Tim, these fertility prices have been a crimp.
Yeah, it's been tough, I know, and of course, also we've seen fuel prices over the last few weeks really go up. We're sort of hoping that's a cycle and we'll come back down. But as you guys get ready to get out in the field, I guess that's got to be another thing that you've got to figure into the budget that maybe you hadn't planned on earlier.
Well, the calendar's pretty static. May's always May, isn't it, Tim?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
May and June tend to be some of the busiest months out of the year on the farm, and that's when a lot of energy and a lot of inputs are consumed. It doesn't matter how high they are. If you plan to operate the farm, you still have to have them.
Yes, absolutely.
So, Tim, if I were speaking to farmers about if you were not hedged on your fertilizer prices right now, if you're looking for ways to manage costs on the farm starting today, maybe look at improved efficiency and technology. Look at better seed placement and potentially having better seed efficiency, which means maybe lowering your seeding rates because you're placing your seed better. That may take some improvements to your planter. Some fixed costs added to that planter, better metering systems, better downforce, better closing systems. But if you could lower your seeding rate by, 10%, that's a big savings. And I would echo the same thing about fertility. If there's ways that you can manage fertility more efficiently by placement, probably the most expensive way we use fertilizer are pre-plant and broadcast applications. And if maybe we could move more of our fertility to either planter applied or top dress, we might be able to lower the amount of fertilizer we use. I think.
Chris, a few years ago, I was down in West Kentucky in a combine with a farmer, and we were looking at some of the technology that he had in there, and he could show me. And we were in a cornfield. He could show me where his yield went up, and when it didn't, he knew where, as far as in that particular field, where his application needed to be increased and where it needed to be decreased. Technology's really played an important part in some of the cost-saving methods that we have out there on the farm now. I know none of it's cheap, but in the long run, that technology really serves to help the bottom line. Is that a fair assessment of it?
Tim, I think that's a very fair assessment. Like say the sampling technology, applying fertilizer where it's needed, and soil sampling in general this year is going to be very important. I think if farmers have built the bank account up, it might be time to take a little draw on what they built up. I've heard guys talk about the idea of commoditizing fertilize. Looking to bank it when fertility is cheaper and draw off that bank when fertility is higher. Not that you don't apply, but maybe apply a more efficient amount in a more efficient place during times when fertility is really high.
Chris, I want to ask a question, and pardon me if it's a dumb question. I don't mean for it to be, but I've talked to several guys, especially out west, when they're around the poultry facilities there, and that litter has become quite valuable to them as as a type of fertilizer. I don't know if you can use it on all crops. I don't know how that works, but are there some alternatives like that folks could look to sort of help, especially during this time?
Well, one of the things, Tim, I started my job working with young farmers 22 years ago. And one of my goals, every time I set foot on a farming operation, make a visit, or to try to help them solve problems, is look at available resource inventory. So start with what you have. And if you live in a community where poultry litter or hog manure is available, that's an available resource. That's an opportunity for you and your community. I think farmers that are cooperators that have their own houses, that was probably one of the driving forces in their decision to be in poultry business, is because the byproduct was beneficial to the whole farming operation. I think litter products bring more to the table than chemical fertilizer. You're bringing biology to the farm, organic matter. There's a lot of things in poultry litter that can't be bought in a jug or, in a commercial chemical setting. There's a lot of beneficials.
Chris, maybe we need to build more poultry barns. I don't know. That would certainly.
I think people still want to eat, and I think poultry in Kentucky is, it's one of our most valuable products, isn't it, Tim? Poultry.
It is. I think it's if it's not at the top, it's near the top.
It's very. If it isn't the top, it's right there. So.
It's been a huge plus to Kentucky agriculture, and I remember we'll go back. Chris, maybe 30 years now. I don't know, but I remember, every year when we would see Ag Outlook information, and we'd get a look at farm gate receipts. The horse industry was always tops. In this state, you just expected it to be, and then suddenly we began to see the poultry industry increase. And I remember I did a story, and the headline was, "When does a chicken beat a horse?"
That's a good tagline, Tim.
And that was the first year that we saw the poultry industry overtake the equine industry as far as farm gate receipts. That didn't lessen our horse industry, but it just showed the strength and the support and that the poultry industry was getting at the time. And so that's been a real plus for a lot of people. Another thing, Chris, in talking to you, and I always learn so much. There's a whole lot of science that goes into this, and I know that our extension folks have been a tremendous help when it comes to a lot of things, learning a lot of lessons from them. We're pretty lucky here in the state to have such a comprehensive extension program, aren't we?
We are, Tim. We are, like I say, my first exposure to learning technology-wise about the cover crops was through the extension service, the seminars that they were having and how they were partnering with soil conservation. To me, extension's been very important. They've been active on my farm. They're active in rural communities, and as far as teaching leadership, we've had some great 4-H leaders that have impacted my children.
And of course, it's always a learning experience, isn't it? Education is a huge part of what we do in anything, but especially on the farm. I would think that, and I know that our farmers continually are looking for new ways, looking for better ways, learning new things. So that educational component, about as critical as anything, isn't it?
I think it is, and we definitely need to continue to support those opportunities. Like I say, the work that I've done the last 22 years it's supported through the state of Kentucky, the Kentucky Adult Agriculture Education Program, and getting to work more intensively with young farmers across the region. I work, there's 12 of us now, and I service the Lake Cumberland region, and like I say, daily I'm taking service calls and helping guys work through some of these decisions. And we're talking about the ways to be more efficient with inputs, but I don't think we need to overlook with volatility comes opportunity. And one of the things, if you look this week, the way the markets have responded on grain prices, I know inputs have went up, and we do need to be aware of that. But right now, we've got a chance to take some risk off the table, maybe by either locking in some crop insurance products or forward contracting some grain, because I look back, November 26 soybean prices were like $10.30 back in December. Now we're looking at November soybeans. They're over $1.30 a bushel higher today than they were, 2 months ago.
I noticed that, and I'm the furthest thing from an economist that there is, Chris. But I do periodically get out there and look at the crop prices, and I've noticed that some of the websites out there that you can go to, they'll have really good graphs that you can look at, and you can immediately see the upswing and the downswing at certain times, almost daily, and so. I noticed that we had a bit of an uptick, and so certainly we hope that continues. But as you've said before, it's all part of a cycle kind of thing. So,
if you know your cost of production, Tim, and you can price some of these bushels to cover those costs now. It just lowers your risk and volatility moving into fall. If you know your operating costs are 50% of what your projected gross income is, go ahead and get some of those inputs paid for. And I think one of the most pressing things as far as timeline-wise, Tim, the crop insurance, the date for us to choose our crop insurance products for multi-peril crop insurance is March 15th. That's four days from now, and with the big beautiful bill, we've got some improved subsidies on our crop insurance products, Tim, and I think that's an opportunity that farmers can latch on to. With an improved subsidy, that's less risk to the farmer. And area products are something that can really raise your gross coverage on the farm and your guaranteed income. So right now, selecting the right insurance product, I think it's really important the next few days for guys to make those choices. So
absolutely. Chris, one other thing, as we prepare for this season coming up, what's your thoughts on it? What are you looking forward to the most? What are the things that you see as some challenges? How do you view the upcoming season from there in Pulaski County on your farms?
Well, on our farm, right now we're fertilizing and feeding our rapeseed crop and our wheat. We've got some really good stands. We're excited about yield potential with that. I'm looking forward to a more normal spring, Tim. We've had the 2 wettest springs on record in our area. We broke the all-time record for rainfall in May in 2024, and we broke the all-time record from January to May last year. We punched up around 50 inches of rain last year in that period. So I'm looking forward to a more normal planting season, I hope. I'm really excited to implement some new practices on the farm, do a better job placing my inputs, better job placing my seeds, fertilizer, I get to work together with my sons. Three of us operate a planter on the farm. So we really look forward to working together. My employees, I've got great employees that support us on the farm, and they're excited about a new season. I'm always optimistic, Tim.
I think that is the word for farm families across the state. They're always optimistic when the new season comes along, and we certainly hope that it's a good season. Weather-wise, we hope it's a good season from an economic standpoint. We'd love to see some things turn around a little bit. And I'd love to visit you soon. I'd planned to do it this time, but maybe I'll, especially when that rapeseed crop blooms out, I'd love to come by and see it and get a few photos of it, if you don't mind, Chris.
Oh, we'd love to have you, Tim.
Great. Well, as always, appreciate your help, and it's just always good talking to you, Chris, and we'll look forward to seeing you real soon.
Well, Tim, y'all have a good day. Thanks for calling.
Absolutely. We'll be in touch soon.